So welcome to the first video of a series of videos on the why of worship, specifically for Bethany. And so this is a workshop that we did a few weeks ago, and there were several people who weren't able to make it. Plus, it's always a great reminder to be able to go back and look at this kind of stuff. So this first video, I kind of want to give you an overview of what we're going to talk about and the series and kind of what the series is all about. So there's basically two parts to this in my sort of thoughts. Is we have the most important part, which is the why. Why we do what we do, how we can be prepared spiritually, how we can be dialed in spiritually, all those elements of what we do. Flow, being led by the Spirit through flow, and how as a team we can experience that. And then you have the mechanics. That's the other side over here. So the mechanics are how we can be proficient on our instrument, proficient enough that we don't have to think about it. And so we can get to that next level when we're leading worship. So that's super, super important. So there is a technical element of that happens, has to happen in order to get to that next point and that next level. Then there's also some mechanics of playing together, and I'm going to give you some things to listen to that you'll get to stop the video and go watch and listen, and really thinking about, okay, what is my part in this? Everybody can't play the same thing all the time. So very, very, very common thing that happens in church worship teams. If you have electric guitar, acoustic guitar, piano, all playing the same thing. In fact, left hand on the piano too, so it's doubling the bass part. You got a bass player. So thinking about how can we get our part to fit into what else is going on. So we're not duplicating, we're adding. We're adding who we are and we're adding our part to it. Okay, super important. So those are all mechanics, which is important stuff because we can't get to the other part. It's kind of like one fuels the other, right? On both sides. So the mechanic stuff, you can have all that happening at a very, very high level, but if there's no spiritual depth and there's no understanding of why you're doing what you're doing, then this is just a good concert and just executing, right? And vice versa. If we're all about heart, if we're all about passion, if we're all about, our spirit just being dialed in with God, but we have no technical capabilities at all, we can't play our instrument, well, then that doesn't work either. The old analogy of someone getting up to preach, there's an element of executing preaching, right? You have to be able to speak well. You have to be able to engage with people. These are all mechanics that are part of that. But also then there's the being fueled by the Holy Spirit and being engaged personally with the Holy Spirit and personally in your relationship with God, which then comes out when you preach. It's the same thing with leading worship. You got to have both. Both of those things are so important. I feel like so many times we focus on the mechanics, which again is important, and you have to have those mechanics, but we don't put as much time, especially in preparation. And that's one thing that we're going to look at and we're going to challenge each other on, is how can we be as spiritually prepared to lead worship as we are musically prepared, and bringing both of those levels up so that they're even, if not a little higher on this side, on the spiritual part, which will then reflect in how we then present and lead the congregation. So that's kind of the plan. And so I'm going to try to keep these kind of short, so it's not like you're watching, 15, 20 minutes of me all at once, but you can get little bites. So this is kind of the overview of what we're going to talk about. And again, I'm going to give you some specifics and some things to listen to, some things to practice. And then at the end of this, we have a challenge for you. I have challenges throughout, but one big challenge at the end of the goal as to what we want to get to, both mechanically, this side, and spiritually, and how both of those things we can raise the bar on. All right, so I look forward to you enjoying and joining on this journey. And of course, anytime you have questions or you want to talk about any of this stuff, I'm always available. And again, for both sides of that, if we want to talk about the mechanics, great. If we want to talk about how we can be more engaged spiritually in our relationship with God, love to have those conversations as well. So look forward to diving in. Thanks so much for watching this first one.